Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a timeless classic from the world of metaphysical and spiritual literature, Seedtime and Harvest by Neville Goddard. In this remarkable book, Goddard explores the powerful concept that our thoughts are seeds and our reality is the inevitable harvest of what we have mentally planted. Whether you are new to his teachings or a long-time fan, this book offers fresh insight into the law of assumption, the creative power of imagination, and how each of us shapes our own destiny consciously or unconsciously. Let's uncover the profound lessons of Seedtime and Harvest and how you can apply these timeless principles to transform your life today. Levels of consciousness. When man discovers that life is a play which he himself is consciously or unconsciously writing, he will cease from the blind self-torture of executing judgment upon others. All the men and women in his world are merely players and are as helpless to change his play as are the players on the screen of the theater to change the picture. The desired change must be conceived, dramatized, rehearsed, and performed in the theater of his mind. When reason and the facts of life oppose the idea you desire to realize and you accept the evidence of your senses and the dictates of reason as the truth, you have brought the Lord, your consciousness, the gift of Cain. Life on earth is a training ground for image making. According to Goddard, if you use only the molds which your senses dictate, there will be no change in your life. You are here to live the more abundant life, so you must use the invisible molds of imagination and make results and accomplishments the crucial test of your power to create. Only as you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continue therein are you offering the gift that pleases. Facts based upon reason and the evidence of the senses which oppose the idea seeking expression rob you of the belief in the reality of the invisible state. But faith is the evidence of things not seen, and through it, call the thing not seen, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and this is the secret to all achievements. The objects and events in time and space occupy a lower level of significance than the level of meaning which produced them. All things were made by meaning, and without meaning was not anything made that was made. The fact that everything seen can be regarded as the effect on a lower level of significance of an unseen higher order of significance is a very important one to grasp. Our usual mode of procedure is to attempt to explain the higher levels of significance, why things happen in terms of the lower, what and how things happen. For example, let us take an actual accident and try to explain it. Most of us live on the level of what happened. The accident was an event in space. A car struck another and practically demolished it. Some of us live on the higher level of how the accident happened. It was a rainy night, the roads were slippery, and the second car skidded into the first. On rare occasions, a few of us reach the highest or causal level of why such an accident occurs. Then we become aware of the invisible, the state of consciousness which produced the visible event. The man who learns of an accident, the man who knows how it happened, and the man who knows why it happened are on three different levels of awareness in regard to that accident. On the ascending scale, each higher level carries us a step in advance towards the truth of the accident. We should strive constantly to lift ourselves to the higher level of meaning, the meaning that is always invisible and above the physical event. But remember, the meaning or cause of the phenomena of life can be found only within the consciousness of man. Man is so engrossed in the visible side of the drama of life, the side of what has happened and how it happened, that he rarely rises to the invisible side of why it happened. He refuses to accept the prophet's warning that things which are seen were not made of things that do appear. His descriptions of what has happened and how it happened are true in terms of his descriptions of what has happened and how it happened, are true in terms of his corresponding levels of thought, but when he asks why it happened, all physical explanations break down and he is forced to seek the why or meaning of it on the invisible and higher level. The mechanical analysis of events deals only with external relationships of things. Such a course will never reach the level which holds the secret of why the events happen. Man must recognize that the lower and visible sides flow from the invisible and higher level of meaning. Intuition is needed to lift us up to the level of meaning, to the level of why things happen. Let us follow the advice of the Jewish prophet and lift up our eyes unto the hills within ourselves and observe what is taking place there. See what ideas we have accepted as true, what states we have consented to, what dreams, what desires, and above all, what intentions. How to experience big changes in life. Events appear on the screen of space to express the different levels of consciousness of man. A change in the level of his consciousness automatically results in a change of the phenomena of his life. To attempt to change conditions before he changes the level of consciousness from whence they came is to struggle in vain. Man redeems the world as he ascends the vertical scale of meaning. Goddard writes, "Our lives, ascending the vertical scale of meaning towards an ever-increasing awareness, an awareness of things of higher significance, are the process whereby this redemption is brought to pass. As man arranges letters into words and words into sentences to express meaning, in like manner, life arranges circumstances, conditions, and events to express the unseen meanings or attitudes of man. Nothing is without significance, but man, not knowing the higher level of inner meaning, looks out upon a moving panorama of events and sees no meaning to life." According to Goddard, there is always a level of meaning determining events and their essential relationship to our lives. In the game of life, our chief aim is towards increasing awareness, an awareness of things of greater significance, and our second aim is towards achieving our goals, realizing our desires. As to our desires, the rules reach only so far as to indicate the way in which we should go to realize them, but the desires themselves must be the individual's own concern. The rules governing the game of life are simple, but it takes a lifetime of practice to use them wisely. Here is one of the rules: as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Thinking is usually believed to be a function entirely untrammeled and free, without any rules to constrain it, but that is not true. Thinking moves by its own processes in a bounded territory with definite paths and patterns. Most of us are totally unaware of the mental activity which goes on within us. But to play the game of life successfully, we must become aware of our every mental activity, for this activity, in the form of inner conversations, is the cause of the outer phenomena of our life. The law of the world never overlooks an inner world, nor makes the smallest allowance for our ignorance of its power. It fashions life about us as we, by our inner conversations, fashion life within ourselves. This is done to reveal to us our position on the playing field of life. There is no opponent in the game of life, there is only the goal. A change of attitude is a change of position on the playing field of life. The game of life is not being played out there in what is called space and time. The real moves in the game of life take place within, on the playing field of the mind. Understanding is the key. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. The spiritual body of imagination is not interlocked with man's environment. The spiritual body can withdraw from the outer man of sense and environment and imagine itself to be what it wants to be. And if it remains faithful to the vision, imagination will build for man a new environment in which to live. According to Goddard, you must first construct as lifelike a representation as possible of what you would see and hear and do if you were physically present and physically moving about in that place. Then, with your physical body immobilized, you must imagine that you are actually in that place and are seeing and hearing and doing all that you would see and hear and do if you were there physically. This you must do over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality. When it feels natural, the place has been prepared as the new environment for your outer or physical self. Now you may open your physical eyes and return to your former state. The place is prepared, and where you have been in imagination, there you shall be in the body also. How this imagined state is realized physically is not the concern of you, the natural or outer man. The spiritual body, on its return from the imagined state to its former physical state, created an invisible bridge of incident to link the two states. Although the curious feeling that you were actually there and that the state was real is gone as soon as you open your eyes upon the old familiar environment, nevertheless, you are haunted with the sense of a double identity, with the knowledge that there is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. When you, the natural man, have had this experience, you will go automatically across the bridge of events which leads to the physical realization of your invisible prepared place. Such a concept demands a revolution in current ideas about the human personality and about space, time, and matter. The concept that man consciously or unconsciously determines the conditions of life by imagining himself into these mental states leads to the conclusion that this supposedly solid world is a construction of mind, a concept which at first common sense rejects. Goddard writes, "You will select the ideal conditions you want to experience and the ideal environment you want to live in, experiencing these states in imagination until they have sensory vividness. You will externalize them as surely as the serpent now externalizes its skin." God desired form, so he became man. And it is not enough for us to recognize his spirit at work in creation. We must see his work in form and say that it is good. even though we outgrow the form forever and ever. Everything is dependent upon that. As you, through the medium of imagination, assume a state of consciousness, that state begins to clothe itself in form. It solidifies around you as the serpent's skin ossifies around it. But you must be faithful to the state. You must not go from state to state, but rather wait patiently in the one invisible state until it takes on form and becomes an objective fact. God is your consciousness. His promises are conditional. Unless the demand, your state of consciousness, is changed, the supply, the present conditions of your life remain as they are. Patience is necessary, but patience will be easy after your first success in shedding the old and growing the new, for we are able to wait according as we have been rewarded by understanding in the past. Understanding is the secret of patience. Imagine that you are seeing what you want to see and remain faithful to your vision. Your imagination will make for itself a corresponding form in which to live. All things are made by imagination's power. Nothing begins except in the imagination of man. From within out is the law of the universe, as within, so without. These were my notes on Seedtime and Harvest, a book which explores the powerful concept that our thoughts are seeds and our reality is the inevitable harvest of what we have mentally planted. Thanks for watching and see you in the next videos. Take care.